Well, of course, Avatar 2 is now officially the third biggest film in the history of cinema. Now, James Cameron holds 2 of the top 3 spots, 3 of the top 4. An incredible accomplishment, making billions and billions of dollars. Well, in the world of streaming and Disney Plus now, a lot of people on the show, people have been calling in and sending in super chats asking, is it inevitable that we're going to get, Disney's going to say, hey, start developing that Avatar Disney Plus series. We need an Avatar Disney Plus series. And we need 4 or 5 spinoffs and all that kind of stuff. Well, pump the brakes. According to James Cameron, that's just not going to happen, at least not anytime soon. And the main reason Cameron is saying that's probably not going to happen anytime soon is because, well, it costs a hell of a lot of money to do. We can go over to my screen here for a second. So when asked about it, James Cameron said the following. He said, right now, the economics do not make sense to spin off any of our CG main characters into TV. But the cost of these things will progressively come down as we introduce machine deep learning into the process and make them more automated. Ask me again in 5 years. So, I mean, I remember when the question for, like, somebody super chatted in a question about that, and we said, look, just, they can't possibly do it, right? We're like, look, the world is streaming right now. For the past year, they've been getting a rude awakening that, oh, streaming isn't some magical fountain of money that is just going to work no matter what you do. Streamers for the last 6 months to a year have been realizing, oh my God, we're losing a lot of money. And it's not turning into this perpetual fountain of funds like everybody thought it was going to be. And now we see, Bob Iger was just talking the other day about, we got to scale back a little bit. We've heard HBO is going to scale back a little bit. I mean, they're going to try to put out all their premium content, but Peacock, Paramount Plus, they're developing stuff, but they're having to be a little bit more picky now. And in a world with Avatar, I mean, listen, this was an expensive movie to make. You try to make a weekly show, I don't care if it's even just 6 parts or 8 parts. Rob, there's just no cost to benefit ratio here that would make this make sense at all. And so I think James Cameron's absolutely right. Like, hey, look, maybe ask the question again in 5 years when the technology is sharpened and we've made it less expensive, and maybe in 5 years we can talk about it. But for right now, yeah, don't expect to see the adventures, of the Na'vi on Disney Plus anytime soon. Anyway, you heard about James Cameron's comments here. What do you think?
Well, it's not unsurprising. I mean, these are some of the most expensive movies ever made that take forever to finish, and just the length of time. I mean, what I did find really, what was most interesting about his comments is he said about deep learning and AI, like he's on that path. Like he's going on that path. And by the time he's done with his Avatar movies in 5 years, that'll go by in the blink of an eye. And by the time he'll finish, he's got Avatar 3, 4, 5. Mm-hmm. They won't even be done in 5 years. So he'll be I'm sure he's developing that technology to make whatever is going to be happening in Avatar 5 or 6 or wherever they go. That deep learning technology is probably a priority for him. And he always does the R&D for the industry. And whatever that technology that he's already working on, imagine what that can do for anything, not just Avatar, but CG characters across the board. We could start seeing some spectacular stuff, but it's all going to start here, just like the pseudopod sequence in the Abyss led to the T-1000 that led to the dinosaurs of Jurassic Park. So, I mean, it's too bad we can't get something now, but probably it's for the best. Let James Cameron make it the best movie he can.
Yeah.
But I do think it's exciting to know that they are developing this technology, because who knows where it could go.
And I think you got to have a little bit of discernment and wisdom on Disney's side to go, look, I understand the temptation is going to be there to go, Avatar is the biggest film in the world. It's the number 3 film of all time and the number 1 film of all time. Let's start cranking out all this stuff. It doesn't matter if the quality's not so good. It doesn't matter if we cut corners. They realize we have long-term investment in this, and we shouldn't approach that way because we could lose a lot of money in the process. Anyway, Chris, you hear Cameron's comments. Are you surprised? Do you think maybe they would have tried to rush something onto Disney Plus, or do you think this is the right way to go?
I mean, I'm sure several executives tried to rush something onto Disney Plus.
Probably.
I'm sure they were like, why aren't we doing this? Give us a cartoon right now. Give us a series. Give us all these shorts. But I think this is the thing to do, because as we've seen with Disney Plus, when you dilute some of your IP, you don't get quality stuff. And so if you have a whole cinematic universe plus tie-ins to television and everything, you could have something that isn't as cohesive and tight as what you want. And these films obviously take a lot of James Cameron's time. He's really, really focused on these, hyper-focused, some could say, but he's really, really devoted to this. Splitting that focus, I think, would lead to muddled projects. So I think it's definitely for the best that they're not doing this at this point in time.
And floating doors in water.
Yeah, well, and also he's got to do those Nat Geo petty projects, you know?
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people thought they would, understandably, because let's face it, studios have shown a tendency to do this in the past, just rush out a bunch of new Avatar product and put it on Disney Plus. According to James Cameron, that is not going to happen, at least not for another half decade or so until it becomes more cost reasonable. Do you think they're making a mistake? Maybe you feel they should be putting this stuff out. Maybe they should be making their Ewoks version of an animated Na'vi show. I mean, I don't know. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Fume. Be smart. Don't start. Kick the habit. Put it out before it puts you out. All phrases we've heard 100 times, and yet we still continue to have bad habits. Today's sponsor, Fume, is on a mission to accelerate humanity's breakup from the bad habits that consume far too many of us. Fume is a natural diffusive device that uses plants and behavioral science to help you trade out your negative habit for a positive one. You see, Fume is not a vape. It's a non-electronic device designed to transform your negative habits. Because instead of pods filled with potentially harmful chemicals like a vape, Fume uses cores infused with plants like peppermint and cinnamon for delicious natural flavors. And Fume's new version 2 model is snappy and tactile. With an adjustable airflow dial and a magnetic end cap, your fingers will always have something to do. The device itself is really attractive, and once I popped in the core and took my first inhale of it, it tasted fantastic. Guys, the easiest way to stop a bad habit is to switch to a positive one, and Fume is designed to perfectly do just that. So head over to tryfume.com and use the promo code Campea to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. The Journey Pack comes with 3 unique flavors and the new version 2 Fume to help kickstart your positive habits. That's tryfume, tryfum.com, and use the code Campea to save an additional 10% off your order today.